Let us solve the problem Meticulous smoothing from Bergen Open 2021. In this problem, the input is a list of integers, and your task is to subtract as little as possible from the values in the list, such that the new list have all values where consecutive numbers differ by at most 1. So we have a sample input and a sample output here, and it might be instructive to take a look at why the sample output is 10. So let me draw this input, as the plank looks like. So here is what it looks like now, but I need to subtract stuff, and I cannot have any locations differ by more than 1. So because I can't add things, this one is imposing a constraint on its neighbor here, namely that it can't be taller than 2. And this propagates, so the next one here, it can't be taller than 3. And then we have a height 2 again, and the next one can't be taller than 3. So what I need to remove is this part. And here, the height that I need to remove is of height 2. Here it is height 4. And here it is height 4. The sum of these numbers, and we have the answer 10. So I like to visualize this problem not exactly like this, but sort of like this, as a function of the index. So on my x-axis I have the index, on my y-axis I have the value. So I mean, this is discrete, but I'm going to draw it as though it was continuous. So we have some function that goes like this, where this is given by the input. And we notice that each point has some constraints that it imposes on all the other values here, right? So this point, it says that, well, my neighbor on this side, he can't be taller than 1 more than myself, and also the guy on this side can't be taller than 1 more than myself. So it has this, and this propagates, right? So you can visualize the constraint imposed by 1 point as these 2 lines that form like a V. And all of the points, of course, have constraints that they impose on all of the other points. So the answer we're looking for is just, finding the area above the line here. So here's an idea. Why don't we consider only the constraints that go to the right first, and then we consider the constraints that go to the left separately afterwards. Okay, so let's draw that. So here I have my list of numbers, and here I have my constraints. So recall, these are only the constraints that go in one direction. So here is the plan. We're going to go left from right, and then I compare the constraint I'm already working with to the constraint that's imposed by this new location, and then I keep the strictest one, and then I continue on, and at the same time I'm going to remember for each position what is the constraint that I need to adhere to at this position. All right, so we can do that quite simply. So we can calculate it like this. So the constraint at some location I is the minimum of the value at that location, and the constraint at the value I minus 1, but plus 1. So now I found a constraint going only forward. So now I do the same with a sweep backwards again, and then I pick the minimum of those two constraints to be the remaining value that I'm allowed to keep. Once I've done that, I compare the new array that I've created to the old one. I take the difference at every point, and the sum of those differences is the answer. So the runtime of this should be quite good. Calculating this quantity, I do it twice at each point, like once going forward, once going backwards. And this is done in constant time. So in total, whoa! So in total, we have a linear runtime for this one.